This DAC's $250, has a headphone amp, and rivals the sound measurements and all that other good stuff as stuff twice as expensive. What is it? Loxjie D30. Sit down, grab a cup of coffee, and let's talk about the Loxjie D30. Are you a pet lover? I know I am. SITH Audio audiophile dog and cat products. It's not fair at all to your furry friend that you get to enjoy all the audiophile products. It's time that you let them enjoy some too. That's why SITH Audio introduced a variety of colors, audiophile chew toys for your cats, dogs, giraffes, maybe even your kangaroo. Go to the SITH Audio website and pick up a whole bunch of audiophile chew toys. The Loxjie D30. Maybe it's this way. I didn't think SITH Audio was going to come out with a pet line, but they sure did. They continue to surprise me all the time. Anyway, what is this? It is a DAC with a headphone amp built in. Yeah, it's got a volume knob right here. Look at that. So this is an easy recommendation at $250. If you'd like to know why, stick around for more ramblings from me, Randy, the Cheap Audio Man, where we help others find the highest value in hi-fi home theater and headphone products. And this can be hi-fi or headphone products. It's a double threat. Double threat. On the back, you'd have what most would consider a fully functioning DAC to have. Full-size optical, full-size coax, full-size USB, Bluetooth antenna. The Bluetooth is APTX HD. That's a codec. That's how your phone or tablet or whatever it is packages the data and then sends it over to this, a receiver, and that's how the receiver unpacks the data. You have to have APTX HD on both your sender, transmitter, and your receiver to get it to work. Also operates on AAC, and that is the Bluetooth codec that all the Apple products use. So if you got an Apple product, you're set. If you've got an Android product that will work with aptX HD, you're set. Otherwise, you can just use SBC, which is the catch-all Bluetooth codec. So you're going to be good. Any device you have is going to be able to shoot over whatever you want it to via Bluetooth. So the D30 utilizes a Sabre ES9068AS Alpha Sierra chip, which is the same chip, and it's got an XMOS sensor. Same chip that is used in the Gustard X16. Same chip that is used in the SMSL SU8S, which I really like that DAC. Those DACs are both balanced. This DAC is not balanced, it's single-ended. Here's the cool thing. If you don't have balanced equipment, guess what? You don't need the SU8S and you don't need the Gustard X16 because you're also getting a headphone amp. Now that headphone amp is rated at 110 milliwatts into 32 ohms. What is 32 ohms? That means the resistance on your headphones. Anything above or below generally takes more power from a headphone amp. 110 milliwatts, it's not a ton, but I will say I tried this out with the Sennheiser, Drop Sennheiser HD6XX 300 ohm headphone. Did it drive them perfectly? No, but it got loud enough for me. I was getting close to maxing out the volume dial. Also trying out the Drop Bear Dynamic Collaboration 177X Go. Now that is a lower impedance headphone, so this had no problems with that. I also tried out the Harmonic Dyne Poseidon, which there is, I believe, still a Kickstarter. That's what it is. Kickstarter. Harmonic Dyne Poseidon Kickstarter campaign. That's a little bit higher than 32 ohms. No problem with those. Also tried these with the Dan Clark Aeon Closed RT, which is very similar to the Drop Dan Clark Aeon X Closed. That's a 13 ohm headphone. Again, had to turn it up a bit. So on the HD6XX, I had to turn it up the most. Then it was the Dan Clark. Then everything else was fine. Point being is if you have really hard to drive headphones, I don't know if this is going to work. But this is a DAC first headphone amp Second, the headphone amp is really there for convenience. One of the reasons why I like this product so much is because it can do triple duty. It can be your desktop DAC headphone amp. It can also, so that's two, 1, 2, DAC, headphone amp. Then if you ever get a better headphone amp or a more powerful headphone amp like the SITH, it's not the Modi, it's the Magni, SITH Magni, or one of the Geshelli headphone amps, or an SMSL SH8S, any one of those that has higher power, you can add that later. Start out with this, $250, really solid DAC, Bluetooth headphone amp. Then if you get a better headphone amp or a more powerful headphone amp, then you can add this to that. Also, this can be used in your Hifi system, and it has a remote control, which means you can pair this up with something like the IEMA A07, which is an amp, speaker amp, but it doesn't have a remote control. Now you have a remote control. You set the A07 to about 70% volume and control the volume through here, because this can be a preamp, which means you have variable output out of the RCAs right here, which basically is a fancy way to say you can control the volume. As far as features, functionality, this is, think about this as a pared down version of the SMSL SU8S. Menu system looks very similar to the SMSL. Screen looks very similar to the SMSL. There are 3 different roll-off modes. You can use those to tailor the sound a bit. One has to listen very closely to hear any differences, but I landed on the third one, which I think was slow something or other. I'll show you pictures. If I'm describing the sound, it's clean, balanced, leans maybe just a titch thin. The great thing about the SMSL SU8S is it's got a ton of functionality. However, that is $270. And if you don't have any balanced equipment, this is $250, and it has a headphone amp in it. Again, great way to start out without having to buy a whole bunch of components. Here's something to consider, the Topping EX5. Now that's a balanced headphone amp and a balanced DAC. That's $100 more. So again, don't ever feel compelled like you have to have balanced, because there are very good products out there like this, which are single-ended, and if you don't have any balanced equipment, don't worry about it. If you don't have any balanced headphones, don't worry about it. Single-ended, it's going to work just fine. I believe this measures quite well. You can go over to Audio Science Review, check it out. I believe they did a review on this. If you're into measurements, it's great. Speakers, very clean. This DAC / headphone amp, fairly neutral. It's detailed. So what you're adding to it as far as an amp, as far as speakers, as far as headphones, are going to tailor what you're going to hear out of these. I would say this is a very neutral sounding DAC. Very good. I like the SU8S. Never heard the Gustard X16. There's some other DACs that I've heard that share the same chipset, and I like them a lot. If you're putting these on speakers, it's not going to be a huge holographic experience, but to be fair, the only DACs that really do that are much more expensive. We're talking SITH, Bifrost 2, we're talking Geshelli J2, which isn't terribly more expensive. It's $300, but there's no headphone amp. Then of course my beloved Denafreps Aries 2. So if you're just getting your feet wet into the DAC game, if you want a good DAC and you want a decent headphone amp, $250. You're probably not going to find a DAC that's this good. I don't even know if you can find a DAC that has the same feature set and sounds as good for below $250 to begin with. There may be some out there. I'd have to do some more research. Regardless, you're getting a very good sounding DAC, and you're getting a headphone amp that will drive most headphones. Even hard to drive headphones, it will drive most headphones very well. So there's not a lot not to like. Double negative maybe? There's a lot to like on this product. Loxjie D30. So if you want to support the channel, you can sign up for Patreon. Patreon.com/cheapaudioman. Every Sunday night we have Patreon-only Zooms. We also have a Patreon-only Facebook group. You can also sign up for Amazon Music. There's a link in the description. You get a few months for free. Amazon Music supports the artist by paying them the most out of any major music streaming service. So it's a good way to support your favorite artists. You can also buy the Loxjie D30. There'll be links in the description. All those links, most of those links are affiliate links, which that means if you buy something, I get a commission, but it doesn't cost you any more. So it's a great way to help out the channel without having to write me a check. Are checks still a thing? I don't know. I feel like they might not be a thing anymore. I think they may still be a thing. So don't binge watch anything on Netflix or Hulu. Binge listen. If you need a DAC and you need an amp, you want to get into the headphone game and you want to skip some of the stuff that's not as good, grab yourself a Loxjie D30 and you'll be rocking and rolling in no time, or listening to your favorite orchestral music, musicals, pipe organ, maybe the like monks that do that. You can listen to all that through that. You can play all types of music. With that, I'm Randy. I'm the Cheap Audio Man.